Hello, I walk with Phil, and I'm in West Bromwich, and it's the day after Storm Darragh, and it's still a bit blowy this morning. It's a Sunday morning. Yeah, still pretty blowy, but at least the rain has eased off. And so what I thought I'd do today is just take you along a very old street here in the town. It's called Old Meeting Street, and I'm going to start off here in Carter's Green near the clock, where the roads by the clock form a kind of a fork. One's called Dudley Street, the other one is Old Meeting Street. We're going to go down the Old Meeting Street, and so it's got quite a lot of history actually, Old Meeting Street. So let's go and have a look and see what we can find. I'm just standing here by the Farley clock, and up there we go towards all the shops up the High Street, and we're here in Carter's Green. And if you look just down there, we go down Dudley Street, and this is the Old Meeting Street. Just here as the two roads would fork, just about here. There used to be a big Wesley Chapel just there. I've mentioned it a few times. It's probably around about here. And of course, when all these road redevelopment occurred in the early 70s, a lot of things have changed enormously since then. And trying to find exactly where all the roads used to be is a very, very difficult thing to do. But if you can see just in the distance in Dudley Street, you can still see some of the old terrace properties that have survived along Dudley Street. That street had lots and lots of terraced houses on either side, but those are the only few really that have survived from the late 19th century. Okay, so we were going along this along the subway now. And we got a bit of rubbish here, just tucked under here. Yeah, a bit of fly tipping here in the subway. And what we're going to do now, now what I'm going to try to explain to you here is, as we come out the subway, Old Meeting Street is just over there, down that way, and this is Garrett Street. Now, Garrett Street was created in the 1920s, to link this road to Tantony Estate, which is ahead of me. And this particular pathway I'm on now was more or less the original Garrett Street, because when they started doing the new roads behind me, they changed the layout, obviously, and you can see now that this would have been Garrett Street, and they've created a new entrance to Garrett Street just up there. There you can see in the distance is Aldi, and that was the previous site of a famous nail works of Hall and Rice. And I think also there's another company called Reynolds may have occupied that site as well. But anyway, I just want to go down Garrett Street a bit and just show you, if I can try and find you, I just want to take you down here and show you something. This is John Street North, just off Garrett Street. Well, John Street has been here long before Garrett Street ever existed, but this would have continued towards onto the High Street, and off John Street ahead of me would have been Winkle Street. There's a little bit of Winkle Street that still exists, and also another road that would have come off John Street was Tyndall. I think it's Tyndall Road, and Tyndall Road, nothing exists of Tyndall Road now, full of terraced houses, and also it had a pub up there called the Plumber's Arms. All disappeared in the 1970s, and John Street North continues down to there where it will be sealed off, a closed road. But John Street would have carried on up here in a straight line, crossed this expressway, and would have joined up with the High Street. And I just want to show you here, because where all these new houses were, once stood an ironworks, and it would have gone the whole length of this side of John Street, through that wall that was recently constructed. I think it was called the Providence Works. But yeah, it was a very old iron foundry that had been created from the 1850s, and they used to make pumping engines. There's a bit of storm damage here. Look, there's some fence panels been taken out. I'll probably see one or two bits of damage as we walk along the Old Meeting Street today. Just ahead of me, look, you can see this wide open green expanse. This was, I suppose would be considered a park, but it was land that used to be owned by the family of Jessons. And from late 1600s, 1700s, the Jessons owned this ground, and Oakwood House that used to be just situated at the top end of this grassy area. And he bequeathed this ground, Thomas Jesson, he bequeathed the house and the grounds to the West Bromwich Corporation in 1912, and the West Bromwich Corporation turned it into a kind of a grassland park area, and subsequently bulldozed Oakwood House in 1955. Just mentioned earlier, there's Aldi, there's a Nell Works around that area. Look at this thing here, eh? These masts, they're just plonked up everywhere, aren't they? Listen to that. Low drone. There's the subway I just came through. Look at this for a fabulous bit of cycle lane here. Hey, it's brilliant, isn't it? It forms a lovely little arc. Oh dear. I bet that cost thousands, that little cycle lane. And you can see over there, look, there's a netball area, basketball area, and there's a swings and slides just a little further back. It's quite a big area actually. This is as I said earlier, this was the newly created entrance to Garrett Street, and created for the Tantony estate. There's Aldi. This extraordinarily popular shop. Just as a guess, I mean, there's a house built here in the Jesson Plainfields area. Well, is it Oakwood Park now? I think that's what it's called now. This could have been the site of Oakwood House, but I'm just guessing. There's Tildesley Street. Just on the corner there, where all these new apartments are, there used to be a shed building company there. There's the entrance to the park, just over here. Well, we would have had rather a lot of terrace properties along this side. Again, this road, Old Meeting Street, very busy street, as you can imagine, as a lot of the traffic comes off the expressway behind me. Now these are Ackrell cottages, so named after a factory owner by the name of Ackrell, who owned the iron foundry. Just a bit further on, I'll show you where it was in a bit. But you can see he's got the Ackrell name on the gate, Ackrell Homes, and Ackrell built these for elderly residents. And just here we have a chapel, just there. Interesting enough, the chapel is used, and whether the chapel can be used for everybody, or is just the people on this site. Now I've crossed over, I'll just show you, there's the Ackroll Homes, look, just there. And just walked up a little bit further here because I want to show you something that just opposite the Oakwood Park here, there's a street here called Oakwood Street. Now Oakwood Street would come along here, and just here would be the entrance to Oakwood Street, opposite Oakwood House, more or less. And just on the corner of Oakwood Street is this building, which would have been a vicarage. But as you can see, Oakwood Street has been effectively sealed off. We've got some old terrace properties just here, look, so original terrace stock is still standing here in Oakwood Street. Got some very old gates here, and a nice doggy there on the window, on the guarding the gates. Yeah, well, I believe this was a vicarage. I don't know which vicarage that would relate to, because we've got the Ebenezer Congregational Church just a bit further down to our right, which I'll show you in a bit. But between Oakwood Street and Chapel Street, there was a chapel called St Andrew's Chapel back in the early part of the 20th century. I don't know really when it was demolished, but you see where all these new properties, newish type of properties are, that's where the chapel would have been. But we've got some storm damage here. Look, you can see a bit of a tree being uprooted here from Storm Darragh yesterday. Couple of properties. There's the Ackroll Homes Chapel, and there's a couple of buildings here. One's pink and one's a kind of cream coloured. And we've got the Halfway House pub, which is no longer a pub. It's now contains flats, one-bedroom flats. It's still got the Halfway House name on the side, and it's still got the original signage on the front, just as though it's still a pub. Okay, now we're going down Chapel Street, so named either because of the church over there, or because there was a chapel that used to be around these parts. But we'll have a quick look down Chapel Street, see what we got down here. This particular area now is backing onto the Swan Village part of West Bromwich. We've got a lot of late 50s, early 60s maisonette type buildings here. And I want to just show you something at the bottom of Chapel Street. I doubt if there's any reminder of what I'm going to show you. Just up here, this particular little avenue is called Ackroll Close. I mean, it could still very well have been called Chapel Street, couldn't it, really? Because when you see, it's such a small area. But Ackroll again is named after the factory owner who had the Ackroll homes built. Yeah, there's a lot of these maisonettes type buildings here. Quite a lot of this type of property, actually. I see a lot of it around the Tantony Estate area. Yeah, it was just on this corner here. There used to be a pub. Yeah, just here where these two properties are, there used to be a pub just here on the corner called the Great Western. And the Great Western had been there since late 1800s, but it was finally demolished in around about 1974, and the last licensee apparently was Joan Massey? But yeah, it was here. Does anybody remember the Great Western? Just here on the corner of Chapel Street. You can have a better view of the chapel in the grounds of the Ackroll Homes area. Just there, look. I'd like to know if it's still being used. It looks well kept though. Just up there we've got Greswold Street, where there was the site of a couple of old factories just there on the corner, and just where that white building is just up there. It's quite odd in a way that when you think about the amount of terrace properties along here, you always find the odd one or two still standing. Look, and there's a couple here. I remember this building being used as a car repair garage for a time. You can see those high steps, look, going up to the front doors off the main road. This is the Ebenezer Congregational Church, just there. If you look opposite this church, there's used to be a very well kept landscaped area just there. That all seems to have disappeared now. There was trees and it was like a small park area. Not that I remember it, but that's what I've been told. Here you can see this fabulous building. Really, it's quite a big place actually. You can see the word schools up there. You know, there used to be Sunday school, and it was built in 1839. The door is open, so there's something going on inside. It's now part of the Hindu Krishna temple, which you can see is here, built here on the left. And it stopped being a congregational church in 1971. So it was around about this particular area. There was a pub here called the Roebuck Inn. The Roebuck Inn got demolished quite a while back in the, I think it may have been in the 80s, 90s. But the terraced houses that it joined onto were still here right up until early 2000s. Yeah, there was all these terraced houses along here. They survived quite a while actually before they got demolished. Okay, we're coming towards the end of Old Meeting Street now. You remember where all these flats used to be? I think many of you remember. The King Edward VII pub used to be just there on the corner. And here's Billay Lane here to my left. Just there, you can see it's sealed off now. But again, this would come out onto Old Meeting Street, because where these cars are now going down to my left, let's just show it before. Did I show you Billay Lane? Look. Before all these cars cross this very busy intersection here, this was the site of just about here and right across there to where those new flats are. That would have been the Black Lake County Primary School, because this road never existed. Swan Lane was a little bit further back, which I'll show you in a sec. Just there where you got Black Lake House, this building, just beyond there was all the electricity works, where West Bromwich produced their own electricity at the turn of the 20th century, late 1900s. This now is called the New Swan Lane. And, oh my goodness, it's so extraordinarily busy. What we'll do, we'll cross in, I'll just show you where the original Swan Lane used to be. I think this building is kind of used as storage now. Yeah, just here now where I'm standing, this was the original line of Swan Lane. It would come along here, and this is where you would stop here at the traffic lights, You'd be here with your car at the lights, and if you wanted to go down that way, you'd have to turn the right here and then left. But now, conveniently, they sealed this road and turned it into a crossroads. All these hundreds of flats and houses are. This used to be the site of a Black Lake Ironworks. I think the owner was Ackrell's, and when it wasn't an ironworks, after it was disbanded as a large foundry, it did become a lot of factory units. Okay then, folks, so I'll wrap it up here. We've come to the end of Old Meeting Street. Bit of history down Old Meeting Street, isn't there? But it's all changed, really. I mean, if anybody, as everything has really in West Bromwich, loads and loads of roads and streets have just changed and disappeared and rerouted. You know, it's very difficult really to determine where anything really was anymore. But I hope that gives you some. I hope it does give you some idea as to how Old Meeting Street used to be back in the 60s, early 70s, before the bulldozers came. And really it was all the fault of the expressway, really, because when that was built, all the road systems around there were all kind of changed and messed around with and what have you. Anyway, maybe it's made life a little bit easier. Well, I don't know, but it's my opinion that I think a lot of it should have been just left alone. Anyway, if you like the video, hit the like button and also hit subscribe and hit the notification bell for new videos, and I'll see you on the next one.